our laboratory was mainly involved in developing a pickup tube for to replace the flying spot mechanical scanner.
Was that basically the Nipkow disc?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And were you using that, or were you doing something that was completely electronic?
Well, we only used any type of mechanical scanning for generating signals for testing our work. But there was another parallel group which was called Television Development that was building mechanical scanners.
In the same laboratory?
Well, yes, so we're in the same building and in adjacent laboratories.
But your group was charged with the all-electronic camera.
Right.
How long did that take you? I mean, were there many false starts, etc.? I mean, was it a very difficult and long process?
Oh, yes, there were lots of false starts. And, but actually, from the time I started work there until we were able to demonstrate a workable tube, I thought it was a relatively short time. It was only a matter of a couple of years before we came up with something that was at least operable. Of course, it wasn't a broadcast quality.
What was the state of the tube when you first arrived in 1930? I mean, what was the picture like?
Well, the picture was very, very crude.
How many lines, apparently?
Well,
approximately?
Probably about 60, I think, is where was about where it was when I started there.
But an image was visible.
Well, yes, images were visible, but they were not generated by the same tube that we came up with.
Right. So how long did it take you to develop a tube that you felt was of broadcast quality?
Well, it was several years after we demonstrated what we considered a usable tube, before we had all the details worked out to make it what we considered broadcast quality. Of course, that would not be considered broadcast quality today.
Was that somewhere in the mid to late 1930s?
Yes, and when we in the studio where they were testing these tubes, which was actually not in our department, but as I said, in this television development department. They were involved in developing circuitry for, once we demonstrated that this tube was operable, they had to develop the circuitry to use it. And they started out, I believe, with about 120 lines.